Hello, I'm Dan Brera, and in this video we're going to look at creating projects and doing pre-configuration using AnyWARE Cloud. So we log into our AnyWARE Cloud account where we're presented with our current jobs list. And in this exercise, we're going to create a new project, a new job, and add tests to it that could be synced to the LanTEK for testing out in the field. We begin by pressing the plus button to add a new job. And the requirements are that we give the job a name and we choose what type of tester and we assign a customer to that. So we'll call this project test project 1. And I can just hit the tab key and go down to my device type, and either using the mouse or my keyboard, this is a twisted pair. And my customer, so we have to add a customer. So if it's a new installation, or not installation, but if it's a new AnyWARE Cloud account, there will be no customers. So when I create a customer, that customer is now saved to the system. But on the first time using it, I'll need to create a customer name. So I'll just call this Dan. I'll give it my name and an address, first name. Well, how about we'll call this Dan's office. And last name could be anything you want. And the telephone number, you can just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever. It doesn't have to be a real number. An email address, it does have to have a valid format, but it doesn't have to be we don't check the email address is what I'm saying here. So we'll just call it Dan B at, and lastly, an address, which is not required, a city is not required, and a country, USA, and zip code is not required. You can add a logo. We won't do that right now, but you can go to any graphics file, a JPEG, PNG, GIF file, and that will be added to the reports instead of the ideal logo. So we've got Dan's office as a customer, and if we've added more customers, then we'll see those listed here. That can be done in the menu bar to add more customers if we like later on. So we'll hit the next button, and identifiers, and these are metadata tags, and we'll go ahead and show you how to do that. It is not required, but we'll do a custom metadata range. And you can use the TIA 606 standard, but we'll go ahead and just do a custom range since this is probably what more people are going to do. You can choose which of these boxes you want to select. And it goes from large to small in terms of the topology of the job installation. So building or site, so we could do building, floor, level, tier. So there's different tags for these things. The closet, DC, EF, so we'll maybe do telecommunications room. And then the next level down is going to give us MDF, cabinet enclosure, frame, rack. So let's do rack. And then last will be patch panel. So you could choose any of these, all of them, any combination of them. So maybe I only want to do the floor, the rack, and the panel. And what that means is for each test I add, we'll be including this information, not in the test name, but this information is associated with that test. So later on, when we're filtering and looking for different test locations, or in the LanTEK, when our installers are out in the field, they can choose to filter on this data. So instead of seeing all of the tests in the list while they're doing the testing, that technician can specify that he is on a certain floor or at a certain rack or in a certain panel, and only those tests show up. And we'll look at how that works, and it makes the job of testing a whole lot easier. So right now we're saying I want to include this information when I add my tests. So we'll hit submit. So what we've done now is we've created a job that's empty, but it has that information in it. So there's no tests in here yet. This is just an empty shell of a job where we can add tests next. These little green tick bars or switches here are used to make that project syncable in the cloud. So right now it defaults to on, and that means that this project can be synced back and forth to a LanTEK. I can turn that off if I'm not ready, because as soon as this job is live, a technician out in the field can hit the sync on their tester and it would pull it down, including any tests that we've created in it. So I might not be ready yet for that project to be synced or to go live. So I'll turn that off. Then we go into the job. And right now we have no tests in the job. So we will add tests by hitting the plus icon in the menu bar up top. And these are going to be twisted pair tests. And the prefix for the start of the test, we can choose from any of these names here: access point, cable, camera, etc. So let's say we're doing cameras. You can use custom and type anything you'd like in there. So I'll just show you how that works actually. So we'll go to custom, but maybe I'm still doing camera, so I can type camera. But what this does is let me add punctuation such as a dash. So I'll say camera dash, and I can hit tab, and by default it's going to go from 1 to 24. So let's keep this simple. Let's say that we have 12 cameras